All right, we're going to go through a install of the Roadmaster mounting bracket kit number 1186-3. First thing I want to do is I want to do an inventory of all the parts. The box it comes in is like 10 by 11 by 29 inches long. It comes with these parts that I have out here. First thing I'm doing is a parts list inventory. I do have them all here. It adds up to me. The quickest way I do for inventory list is just count all the numbers here. It comes up to 34. I do have 34 pieces. You've got the 4 metric bolts here. They're washers, lock washers. You've got the 4 standard bolts there. Nuts, lock washers. You've got the 4 big washers here. The lock pins and their keys to lock them in. It comes with instructions, and it comes with the box, and then of course the last 4 pieces that are in there are actually the receivers themselves, and you'll get a better look at those once we take them out and put them in, but they're basically here. So the next step will be once we get ready for the install. Okay, here is the instructions for the kit. Again, it's kit 1186-3, revision 120715. The top picture, I don't know if you can see this on the GoPro, but you'll actually, when you have the little receivers in, the entire receivers in, the 2 pieces. And the bottom is when you take the little tow bar receivers out and you're just left with the brackets. So it almost looks invisible at that point. So the first step is to remove the skid plate underneath. And it looks like there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 places or bolts we have to take off. And so that's what I'm going to do next. Okay, what we're going to use for the 10 millimeter, the 2 different socket sizes are 10 millimeter and 13 millimeter. I've got the 10 millimeter that's set up. That is where the fascia is attached to the skid plate. And then the 13 millimeters is what we're going to use to remove the bolts that hold the skid plate up into the frame. Okay, and right here are the 10 millimeter. Hopefully you can see all that. That hold the fascia in, and I'm going to take those out next. Okay, and there you can see those are removed right there on the ground. And now we're going to go after the 13 millimeter ones, which again, they're the bigger, through the bigger holes there. You can kind of see back in the pan, and just like the instructions say, we're going to get all of those, and I'm going to take those out and then drop the skid pan. Okay, one point I want to make about dropping this pan, it's very simple actually. It's just the 5 bolts, 13 millimeter bolts, and then the 3 10 millimeter bolts, but it didn't want to drop down right away, and I was kind of wondering why. But in the back, when I looked from the back side, you can kind of see this little hook here on this side and on that side. You have to kind of push it up, slide it over to the side, and then it comes down through the slot. So just a little tidbit to drop that. Okay, so we drop the pan, that picture right there, and there's the pan on the ground. The next step is to take off the, I think they call them tow hooks. Usually they're called tow hooks, but these will be the next parts coming off, and they're right here. Should be fairly easy to get those off. A couple bolts on each side. I'll check back with you in a second. Okay, here's a picture of the, again, the tow, I don't know what you call those, knuckles or whatever they're used for towing the vehicle. They're off now. Those took 17 millimeters. Use a nice, good sized wrench because they were on there pretty good. Those took a little bit of oomph to get them off. Then it's always good to have a little extension here, so that when they do get loose enough for thumb, you can use that. I'm assuming that's why those are knurled. And then to show you where they came off of, they are right there. And same as on the other side, over there. Okay, what's the next step? Well,
where's the
instructions? Right here they are. All right. Now the next thing is step number 3 is going to loosen the 3, and I believe these are metric bolts. Figure E. Those are 14 millimeter bolts that we're going to loosen in there. All right, and then we're going to do that and we'll show you. All right, here is a, you can kind of see them up in there, hopefully the light. You can see the 3 14 millimeter bolts that we'll have to loosen, and then those will go into the bracket. All right. Where is he?
He's on the top.
I know, I'm trying to see him. Yeah, I think you can see him. It's hard to see in the back lens though. There, he moved a little bit. Cool. All right. Okay, we've got the frame in place. You can see the 3 bolts up in there. Hopefully, it's hard to see with this light like that. But anyway, the thing's on there. Now, one of these holes should line up. The back one should line up. I think we got to take that plastic thing out of there.
Yeah, the cap.
And then the front hole has to be drilled. Okay, that'll be our next.
Front hole is drilled, the back hole.
Okay, where we're at right now, we got those 3 nuts back on. That's holding the frame up there. We got these bottom 2 on, so that's 5. We got the back bolt that there was really an existing hole on there. And then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to do the front hole. And I'm on the driver's side, and I turned my steering wheel all the way to the left so that we can get in there. That way we can get in the wheel well here and get enough room to drill a hole in. Is that picture mode again? No, it's recording. Okay, anyway, just drilled it. There was already a hole there, so we just drilled it out, and now we just got to go all the way through. On the other side, there's not a hole, so that's our next step. All right, now you can see the 2 bolts are in there. Lights up a little bit. Yeah, didn't take much to get that through there, so now we're just going to put the nut on the other side, and then we will move to the other side and basically just reverse this process. I'll try to get a good look at this before we put the skid plate back on. Okay, now the install is complete. The hardest 3 bolts to get at and to get off and to see are the 3, what did I say those sizes were, Bo? 14 millimeter up inside there, and they're hard to get at. You need a regular size socket, not a deep well one at all. And you can get those off. Those are back on now in place. The ones on the bottom here are the 19 millimeter bolts. Those are the ones that go up, and they replace the toe knuckles or the tow bars that you took off. And then the only other 2 are the ones up in there, and that's the one where you had to drill the 1 hole on. Now it's funny because those are 17, I believe. So it's 17, 19, 14 are the 3 sizes you need down here. The thing about this is those bolts is when we did it on the driver's side, I had to drill the hole on the passenger side. The hole was there already on the one side, but you still had to drill the back side of it, so you still have to drill it. But other than that, that's it, other than putting the skid plate back on. And then of course we have the little attachments here that you can just pull the pin out, pull that out, and that comes off. So basically, when you don't have them on, they're pretty well hidden. You can't hardly see them, just a little bit down there, versus, like I said, when you do have it on. But there's really no reason to have that on if you're not towing. Okay, the only other thing we might have to do when we put this back on is they say right here we might have to take this corner, cut this corner off, but I'll let you know that in a second. Okay, I wanted to make one last little comment of this. On figure K of the instructions, it shows you might have to notch out a little corner of this skid plate. This is a 2017 Toyota Tundra Platinum Edition full-size crew cab, and I did not have to do any kind of notching at all on the skid plate to get it in place. It fits right back up in there. So everything's installed, and that wasn't too bad. Like I said, the toughest bolts to get off are the 3 side bolts, or the 3 up inside there, because they don't really give you enough room. It's hard to see this now with everything with the skid plate on, but they're right up in there. It's real dark. They don't give you enough room in between the front frame and the where you need to lock that base plate in, or bolt the base plate in. So you got just a regular size. Hey, looks like I got a little helper. Did you do the whole job underneath there all by yourself? Yeah? Good job. All right.
Hey.
Hey, what?
I couldn't go no forward because that thing was there.
You made it all the way underneath there, huh? Good job. Make sure everything's done right, okay? You can do a little QC work for us.
Okay.
Go down there and make sure we did everything right.
Okay.
Okay?